Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be doing the flower letter. Now I'm going to be doing both of these. This is 12 and 13. They just kind of come in the mail kind of close together, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to open them both up and we're going to read them. So I also finished the rose code and I'm going to go over it with you guys because it could have important information in it that could pertain to the next couple of letters. I'm not really sure on that, but it was classified. It was really fun to do. It did take me a little bit to do it just because they were so small, but if you guys remember, you know, you've got your little magnifying glass if you guys need it, and then again we had the little sheet that told us what the letters was going by the symbols. So before we open the letters, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the rose code. Okay, so here is page 1, and as you guys can see, it was like super small, so it did take me forever to do it, but let's read it and let's see what it has to say. It says, last July, Lionheart passed on information about a Soviet spy infiltrating one of our classified project. His sources told him the spies were receiving information from someone on the inside, a communist traitor. Do you remember my psychics professor at Berkeley, Dr. J. Robert Oppenheimer? General Grooves has Oppenheimer working on something called the Manhattan Project. Unfortunately, Oppenheimer has also had past affiliations with the Communist Party. He was labeled a communist sympathizer, but since Grooves needed him on the project so badly, he had Oppenheimer pardoned. This was the reason Uncle Abe sent me down to Oak Ridge last July. He didn't feel he can send one of his own men because Grooves didn't want Oppenheimer getting suspicious. They both worried that if he did, he might quit the project. I don't think Oppenheimer is the mole, but since he's openly admitted to being affiliated with the communist organizations, Grooves ordered Uncle Abe to be certain. After what I saw down at Oak Ridge, I'm almost certain Grooves has Oppenheimer testing out those theories. He used to lecture about at Berkeley. If I'm right and Oppenheimer succeeds, this Manhattan Project could not only be the answer to ending the war, it could be the answer to preventing war from here on out. We didn't want the Soviet Party to Oppenheimer's progress or whereabouts. Uncle Abe is sending me down to New Mexico. He thinks that I might be able to vent Oppenheimer without breaking his suspicions. I know how you will feel about this, but I believe this is extremely important. If Oppenheimer succeeds at what I suspect he's attempting, humanity will cross a line it can't come back from. If his research gets into the wrong hands, God help us. Okay, so that was the rose code. That was everything that was in it. That's pretty intense. Things sound like they're heating up pretty good over there. So okay, so this was again the rose code, and now let's do the letters. Ooh, this has got it classified. Okay, so this is letter number 12, and it's got a pretty little postcard in it. Here's the back of it and the front of it, and it looks like we have another classified letter. So let's see. This one, it looks like it might be 2 pages. So here's this one. It's got an eagle on the front of it. It's kind of pretty. Very, very good for July. Of course, you know, 4th of July. Oh, okay, so this looks like a typed out letter. It says February 3rd, 1944. To the office of General Abram Stokes, Washington, D.C., Pentagon. Abe, you crusty old son of a gun. It's been a long time, my friend. How's Washington since I've been away? You wouldn't believe the sock dollar draw happening across the pond these days. Ike's got us ramping up for the big time. I'm willing to bet 100 to 1 that you wish you could trade places with me. The Brits are a bit upstagey about who's in charge up here, unlike some of our more egocentric commanders. I find it completely understandable. They're all dead tired of this war. After being in London the past 6 months, it isn't hard to see why. I never thought I'd say it, but I think I may have experienced a few things worse than the bully beef and turnip flour bread we were eating down in the trenches by the end of the Great War. The rations over here are, well, lacking to say the least. Thankfully, we brought our own supplies. I can't believe the Brits were being less than thrilled about us flooding their shores and streets for some other reason as well. We're a rowdy bunch, and I'm ashamed to say the segregation issues over here haven't done us any favors. You know how I feel about this. It's a despicable manifestation of how much further we have to go before we live up to the precepts of our own Constitution. But racism is bred deep in a lot of our boys, not to mention their superiors. We've got fights and altercations breaking out weekly. The segregations ultimately become necessary just to keep the peace. I'm relieved Audrey Rose doesn't have to witness this firsthand, but I'll be putting out fires left and right on account of her in that need for justice. Remember old Jeb, the stable hand from the time at Camp Med? He used to take Audrey on horseback rides every Thursday. One time I overheard some of the soldiers giving him a hard time. I was about to send them hoofing for 10 miles or so, but by the time I got over there, however, the tongue lashing my 10-year-old Audrey had given them seemed like punishment enough. You should have seen her there, eyes ablaze with her little fist at her waist, demanding old Jeb. I'd never been so proud of my girl in all my life. Even if I did have to keep an extra eye out for old Jeb from then on. Now that Audrey Rose is a grown woman, though with a sharper, much more sophisticated tongue in her head, it might be likely throwing fuel on flames the way things are over here. Ruby, on the other hand, is as even-tempered as they come. She steadily takes it all in stride in her quiet way. She leads the way at the hospital, helping any injured soldier, no matter the color of his skin. I'm proud to say she gives equal care, compassion, and dignity across the board. I've always been grateful for Rosie's Cherokee heritage. It puts our girls ahead of their time where equality is concerned. But who knows? Maybe this war would take us a step closer to those truths we hold to be self-evident that old Jefferson, Adams, Franklin, and the rest were talking about. That's enough gum beating for me. So I hear you've been keeping an eye on Audrey Rose while I've been away. I'm obliged to you, Abe. It's harder on this old man's heart than I care to admit, leaving her behind like that. She's been by my side since her mama's death, not to mention since the beginning of this war. I've grown to depend on her. Now that she's married, I wish I had brought her along with me. Don't get me wrong, I wholeheartedly approve of her choice in a husband. I couldn't have chosen a better man for her myself. But it's the father's prerogative to mourn a little when his little girl grows up and replaces him as the main man in her life. It doesn't help that Ruby's about to follow in her footsteps. This confounded war. I suppose you'll understand soon enough. I hear your Gwen is on her way to the altar in a few months. Don't worry, you'll survive. Giving her away would just feel like that time Kramer slipped during combat training and combated you in the thigh. Only this time it will feel like he got you in the heart. In the meantime, I've got some hard words to say to you, old friend. Before I start busting your chops, though, don't think I've forgotten for a second that I owe you and Betty for all you did for my girls after Rosie passed away. You especially were a godsend for the girls, having lost her own mama so young. You gave my Audrey someone to lean on in a way that I couldn't. I'll never forget it. But that brings me to my point. Audrey wrote to me about what you got her tangled up in down in Oak Ridge. And if I hadn't been across the pond when I got her letter, I would have been in your office breathing fire before the ink on her letter was dry. You know, I know my girls are as bright and brave as they come, particularly Audrey Rose, and for the most part, I've tried to encourage and enable them as much as possible. But unless you can give me a 200% guarantee that no harm will come to her when she heads to New Mexico, you better find a replacement real fast. She doesn't know this. Either of us are going to tell her, but there's a reason I made Audrey Rose my personal secretary. I knew that if I didn't, she'd join the OSS of her own accord and be off doing exactly what you're asking her to do right now. She's a full-blooded patriot if ever there was one. She was raised one, but have you fully considered the danger you're putting my daughter in? Have either of you considered what could happen to her if things go south? Have you further considered that Audrey Rose might have only agreed to do this for you on account of feelings obliged to you? I never told you this, but after you were there for her, all those long distance phone calls, letters, little presents, and postcards you sent to cheer her up during the weeks and months following Rosie's death, that girl swore she'd walk through fire for you. I was worried she might have become a little infatuated the way that girls that age tend to with their heroes, but she was serious, Abe. My Audrey is as loyal as they come. I believe she still feels a great debt of gratitude to you, but I'll never forgive you, no matter our history, if you use that loyalty to your advantage. I know how Groove sticks his neck out to vouch for Oppenheimer. Everyone does as far as I can tell. He was right to do it. Oppenheimer truly is the only man for the job. But if you're using my girl in order to save our necks, if something happens to her, and I discover it's all because you and Grooves need to cover your backsides for sake of a political reputation, I swear, Abe, I'll swim home if I have to and tear those political reputations to shreds. Now I've said my piece. I trust we understand each other. Give my love to Betty and the kids. Yours, Duke P. Drillinger. Then it says General Duke P. Drillinger, Whitehall, Westminster, London, SIA, United Kingdoms. And then I always tell you guys that right here, you guys can go to theflowerletters.com. So if you guys want to learn more about this irrigation issue that he was talking about in the letter and like what was going on at that time, you guys can get on here, or if you guys would like for me to cover that and do a video, I can. If you guys would like, just leave it in the comments. So that was all for that letter. It sounds like things are pretty tense, and it sounds like he's going to be mad if something happens to Audrey, and I really am glad that I did read the Rose Code because it kind of did pertain information to this, so I'm glad I did finish it, and I had it ready by the time these got here. So that was letter number 12. Okay, so this is letter 13, and it kind of looks like we got the same postcard, but it looks a bit bigger. I kind of like this, and then just the back of it. And it looks like we have another, yeah, okay, it looks like we got another classified letter here. So, okay, let's see, here's what this one looks like. I kind of like this. It looks like it's got the grill from a Jeep, from like the old, like, Jeeps. I like that. So that's what that one is. And looks like it's another 2 pages. Looks like it's hand typed. So this is coming from the United States Army. This one says February 13th, 1944. General Duke P. Drillinger, Whitehall, Westminster, London, United Kingdoms. It says Duke. I thought I'd been hearing from you. I ordered Audrey Rose to tell you what was happening because I knew our friendship would be jeopardized if she didn't. She didn't want to, knowing you to respond precisely the way you have, but I value our history together too much to do this behind your back. I don't have a lot of time to talk shop here, so let me get to it. I know at first glance it looks like I'm sending your girl straight into the jaws of hell, and in a way I am. But I swear to you on my own mother's grave, if I had any other choice, I'd take it. You know Betty and I love Audrey and Ruby like they're our own. Aside from how Audrey won my heart and soul when she was just a tiny thing, watching her bear up under the burden of losing her mama firsthand made her a particular favorite for life. Not only that, but she's been downright angelic to my Gwen. Don't do me or our friendship any disservice of thinking I didn't explore every available option before choosing her for this. Scout's honor, Duke. There isn't a soul in America more perfectly suited to undertake this mission than Audrey Rose. Just so we're clear on that, I'll give you my reasons why. First of all, she's as bright as they come. When they were handing out brains, this girl got the jackpot. I'm assuming she takes after Rosie in this regard, because we both know you were only 5th in our class at West Point. If you recall, 4th place was yours truly. All joking aside, I don't mind saying it, Duke. Your girl understands physics as well, if not better, than most of the men working for me. Secondly, she's a young woman, which in and of itself makes her less suspicious. She's also quite a beauty, which happens to be one of our friend Oppenheimer's particular weakness. Don't think I haven't made it my business to know everything there is to know about him, including about his wife and about his mistress back in California. Thirdly, Audrey Rose already knows Oppenheimer pretty well, and I know for a fact that he was real impressed with her research and particularly interested in theoretical physics. She was actually one of his favorite students and his aide for a year. He'll definitely remember her when I have her write to him and set up the meeting. Not only that, but because of her previous acquaintance with Oppenheimer and serendipitously having crossed paths with many of his other communist sympathizing associates, it won't be such a stretch when she shows up posing as a communist herself. And don't you worry about that last part. Grooves and I had taken every precaution necessary to ensure there's no possible risk of any association accidentally going on her permanent record. Finally, not only has Audrey Rose had access to the highest training available because of her secretary, but she would certainly not be going into this alone. I'm sending my 3 best agents as backup in case things go south. Now, my plan is to send her down to Site Y to test Oppenheimer. She'll present herself as a communist working with the Soviets. She'll give him the opportunity to pass information on to my boys, who will be posing as Soviet spies, and if he folds, we'll take him down right there. Between you and me, I don't think Oppenheimer is our man. Grooves wouldn't have put his neck out for him the way he has if he felt any inkling of a traitor in him. You know Grooves' reputation for judging character is concerned. I do believe Lionheart, however, there's someone down there, someone working real close to Oppenheimer who is our mole. I'm hopeful this whole operation will draw him out and clear Oppenheimer of all suspicions once and for all. That way we can get on with it. There honestly isn't a better man in America suited for this job. Not even Einstein has the kind of drive we've seen in Oppenheimer. So, old friend, hopefully now you can see that I haven't made this decision willy-nilly. I'm not using Audrey Rose or her loyalty toward me for anything other than the good of our country. Of all the soldiers fighting this war on both sides, really, and humanity in general, honestly, when she mentioned she knew Oppenheimer at Berkeley and we got to talking, she quickly became the answer to a whole lot of prayers. Grooves keeps calling her Queen Esther, says it's like the Almighty himself put her in a path for such a time as this. Maybe that'll give you a little reinsurance. I don't blame you for being angry with me, though. Holy mackerel, I'd be livid if someone tried that with my Gwen. But Audrey Rose isn't my Gwen. She's the gutsiest gal I know, and she really has got the best chance of succeeding. And all I'm asking is that you don't stop her from trying. I know I don't have to tell you what's at stake here. Your girl has literally got the fate of the world resting on her shoulders in this. If she pulls it off, we'll be one step closer to ending this war and bringing our boys home. She knows this. She's hopefully aware of the danger. She even knows she can back out at any time she wants. But you and I both know she won't back out, not when her man is over there getting ready to enter the thick of it. So let's start praying, Duke. Let's start praying real hard. Yours, Abe. And then it says, General Abram Stokes, Washington, D.C., Pentagon. Whoa, okay, guys. That sounds like things are getting real intense over there and like things are fisting to fire up. So I kind of can't wait to see how this is going to turn out, and how it's going to, turn out with her and Oppenheimer. So hopefully the next letter, maybe we'll get maybe from Audrey or maybe Charlie. Maybe we'll kind of know, what's going on and everything. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys don't mind me putting together both of the letters that just came at the same time. I just thought I'll just open them. We'll read them all together. And once again, you guys can get the flower letter. It's $12 a month. You get 2 letters a month. They are beautifully written. I love the vintage feel to them. They have a little bit of everything in them, a little romance, a little bit of action, and some letters are a little intense, because I can't wait to really, find out like what's actually going to go on. I'm always excited to receive them in the mail. I kind of can't wait. When I finish this one, I know I've had a couple of you ask me if I am going to do another flower letter after this one. Yes, I am. I'm going to try another one, a different one. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do yet, but I really, really enjoy this one, and I'm sure that their other letters are just as beautifully written, and I do kind of want to explore that, and I want to see what's in them, the surprises that you get in them. So if you guys like this video and you like watching these flower letter series, Please like and subscribe. Please let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions or there's anything you guys want me to do, like any extra, or if there's just something you want me to go more into detail on, do let me know. And please hit that subscribe button for more, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.